Battle passes, microtransactions, game series that get new installments every year with hardly any changes, except for the number in the title. It makes us, gamers, nostalgic for the times when computer games were created out of passion, not as money-making machines. What does this mean for future of indie games? Before we explain, let's go back to the year 1961, when computers were the size of our current fridges. Spacewar is created, the game that demonstrated that a computer is not just for work, but can also serve as a form of entertainment. Then, in the following years, games like Zork, Rogue, Prince of Persia were created, showing that you can make great game sitting in your basement eating pizza and drinking soda. Such games continued to be made until the 90s, when larger teams began to dominate the market. Some examples are Square with Final Fantasy, where we are saving the world with funny spiky hair and big swords, Nintendo with The Legend of Zelda, teaching us that breaking pots and cutting grass can be heroic, or Valve with Half-Life, showing that a crowbar can be your best friend when science experiment gone wrong. The influx of such large titles at that time made it difficult for small independent studios to compete with larger productions in terms of quality and distribution reach. Everything began to change from the year 2003. Two major events that influenced the revival of indie games were the launch of Steam and the creation of Cave Story in 2004, a title that some refer to as the father of indie games. During this time, the first hints of microtransactions also began to appear, which we revisit shortly. In 2008, Braid was released, and finally, in 2011 The Man in the Black Hat appeared, and Minecraft, which was still considered an indie game at the time, was created. Minecraft showed that creating an independent game can build nostalgic memories from childhood that last a lifetime. In the meantime, microtransactions grew in prominence, and I'm not saying they are entirely bad. As an addition to a game, they can be an interesting variation. The problem is that in some AAA titles, it began to look as if the game was one big microtransaction. Great example from this year is Escape from Tarkov. The creators initially promised that the more expensive edition would include all future DLCs, but then they created more expensive edition with a PvE mode that cost $250. After a wave of backlash, they backed down and tried to mitigate the drama, but players don't easily forget such incidents. So, you play a AAA game and it literally screams at you, "Give me your money!" even though you've already paid for the game. Meanwhile, think back to an indie game experience. It's often something that can change your perspective on life, or as mentioned earlier, create memories that last a lifetime. What stays with you more? The way you and your friends build something together on a hot summer evening in Minecraft, or a soulless game created under crunch conditions imposed on workers by a giant corporation? Did you ever see a big message saying "pay to find more diamonds" while searching for diamonds in this game? Okay, the next part. I know the example I'm about to give is not an indie game, but rather a title that resembles AAA or at least AA games in its gameplay, The Walking Dead series. This title brought players from around the world to tears with its story. This is what we should expect from games, a wonderful story that you will never forget and that doesn't involve unnecessary political or ideological disputes. Indie games usually have gameplay created by gamers for gamers. For example, indie roguelike games provide a sense of satisfaction with each room you explore. Games like Stardew Valley make even the coldest winter feel like a contrast to what we see on the screen. Terraria, or the aforementioned Minecraft, with their sandbox style and the creativity they encourage, allow adults to relive their childhood. Undertale enchants everyone with its story and music, despite its simpler but beautiful graphics. At the conclusion, I believe that as the creation of computer games becomes more accessible and easier due to the emergence of various tools, we might see an influx of bad titles in the indie games industry. Yes, I'm talking about your artificial intelligence. We may see a flood of mediocre titles, but that doesn't mean there won't be games like Stardew Valley, Undertale and Minecraft, created by gamers for gamers, filled with gameplay mechanics or stories that provide us with fantastic memories. We just need to approach the industry more cautiously as players and stop pretending it's raining when someone is spitting in our face. Thank you very much for watching and see you soon.